Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Thursday. A little sun finally came out today.
Oh, I know. Doesn't it feel good?
It does feel good.
Nice and cool. A little later this hour, we're going to be taking your calls for Dr. Carrie Donahue from Full Circle Veterinary Care. She's going to take your calls and talk about CBD oil for your pets, which is something you've tried with your dogs.
Hey, Lola takes it, so we'll find out more about that.
Yeah, we'll let you know when it's time to call in.
But first, here's what's making news on this Thursday. For another year, there is flooding in parts of Darlington and disrupting the way of life for some residents.
A cemetery employee was shot and killed today in Wausau, where multiple people were shot.
And President Trump continues to disregard an ongoing impeachment inquiry, but Democrats are pushing on with their investigation over a call with the Ukrainian president.
Let's take a look outside today. It was a day to dry out, a little cooler, nice to see the sunshine. That's a great shot.
Yeah, fall's coming to be in the air.
Yeah, a little bit.
Staying a little cool are the weather words. Dana is in the backyard. I do not mind the cool over that humidity.
I don't mind it at all. I'm here for this. This is perfect Dana kind of temperatures right now. We have a few clouds in the sky, but overall some sunshine also popping on through. Not a bad evening, very fall-like outside. And it feels just a little crisp currently with a light breeze. That breeze right now coming from the northwest at about 12 miles per hour. Again, those dew points down in the 40s. Temperature-wise, we're in the upper 50s, so a little below average, but still quite pleasant outside. Doppler track's going to stay nice and quiet through this evening and overnight. Compared to this time yesterday, we're in a pretty similar spot temperature-wise. Again, 57 in Boswell and in Madison, 59 in Janesville right now, about 56 for Black River Falls. With the breeze, though, it does feel just a smidge cooler than that. We'll stay cool overnight, and as we head into Friday, and we're looking at another rain chance by the time we get into the weekend. We'll take a closer look at that full forecast in just a few minutes. Right now on the roads, no major accidents to report. The eastbound side of the Beltline already slowing down quite a bit. The westbound side, though, only a little bit of a delay if you're getting on near Fitch Hatchery Road. Then things pick right back on up. Around Prairie du Sac and Sauk City, all looks fine right now on 12. It'll take you about 27 minutes to get from Janesville to the Beltline, 16 from Sauk City to Middleton, and some Prairie to downtown will be about 15 minutes this evening. I've been holding out. I haven't turned on the heat just yet, but might have to tonight.
I did last night.
No, I haven't yet.
You haven't?
No, it's still 70 degrees in the house, so I'm good.
Really? Wow.
Well, yes, okay, Dana, we'll see you in a few minutes.
Thanks, Dana. A major road closure is dividing the community of Darlington, causing headaches for drivers that are looking to cross the Main Street Bridge. The
city is experiencing its 7th flood in 2 years. Rose Schmidt is live from Main Street in downtown Darlington with an update about what residents should expect to see there over the next few days.
Mark and Susan, with the Main Street Bridge closed, we spoke to one business owner this morning who told us that she lives about 5 minutes that way, but it took her about an hour to get to work today because she had to drive all the way around the city. Now, right now, the Pecatonica River is at about 15.8 feet, and it appears to have crested or come close, meaning it's likely not going to reach major flood stages. The water from the Pecatonica River is receding, but it's moving more slowly than the local officials would like. Police Chief Jason King says that means the bridge will likely have to stay closed for another 24 hours.
And so we aren't going to be surprised if school's closed again on Friday, and we're standing here all day again Friday waiting for the waters to recede just enough that we can open the bridge back up at least to one lane. But the waters have to get down to 15 feet before we can make that happen.
Chief King says any more rain north of Darlington this weekend will likely mean the city gets right back up to these moderate flood stages again. He also says people may be tempted to take a walk or drive through these floodwaters, but that is not something he recommends. He says manhole covers could pop up and someone could get stuck inside, or the road could be completely washed out under you and you wouldn't even know it until it was too late. We actually just saw a semi drive through this area, and we're told that he got a hefty ticket because he drove around a barricade, so something you should not do, and we don't recommend it.
No, very good advice. Rose Schmidt reporting live from Darlington. Rose, thanks.
Around the state, a suspect is in custody this afternoon after one person was killed in a shooting at a cemetery in Wausau.
Charlotte Teleste joins us from the newsroom now with the details. Charlotte?
Susan and Mark, the Wausau Police Department confirmed in a press conference this afternoon that one person was shot to death and 2 others were injured this morning at the Pine Grove Cemetery. The victim was an employee for the cemetery. Police say the suspect started a fire at an apartment complex about a mile away around 8:15 this morning. 30 minutes later, around 8:45, officers responded to reports of a shooting at the cemetery. By 9:30, the man was arrested by police and a handgun was recovered at the scene. Officers say the suspect was a former employee of the cemetery. The status of the other two victims have not been released. The gunman will make an initial appearance in court tomorrow. Susan and Mark, authorities also expect to release more information tomorrow morning.
All right, Charlotte Celeste live in the newsroom. Thank you.
Madison doctors are urging young people to stop vaping immediately.
A 16-year-old who just a week ago was close to death is helping share that message. Madeline O'Neill is here to tell us how. Maddie?
Well, we know more than a quarter of high schoolers vape. What we don't know is the long-term consequences of the relatively new trend. UW Health doctors can tell us that this national health crisis is hitting home. In the last 2 months, UW Health doctors say they've treated at least 10 cases of lung injury in teens and young adults who say they've vaped. Last week, 16-year-old Logan Cron was the first patient in the American Family Children's Hospital intensive care unit because of vaping. The Fort Atkinson teen's lungs were filled with liquid and he couldn't breathe on his own from something called chemical pneumonia.
I came very close to dying, and I have suffered lifelong damage to my lungs. I have a long recovery ahead of me, and this experience has changed my life tremendously. If you don't smoke or vape now, please don't start. But if you do, I urge you to stop and get some help immediately. While quitting might seem rather difficult, going through this is far worse.
Doctors don't know what Logan's long-term recovery will look like, but they're monitoring his lungs to see how he does recover. In the meantime, they're urging anyone who vapes, whether it's THC, CBD oil, or nicotine, to seek help quitting. We'll have some available resources linked on our website.
All right, Madeline O'Neill, thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. President Trump took more swipes at Democrats today and is calling on another country to investigate the Bidens. Nicole Killian has the latest from Capitol Hill.
That's why they do the impeachment crap, because they know they can't beat us fairly.
President Trump took more swipes at Democrats, including rival Joe Biden, after calling on Ukraine and now China to investigate the former vice president and his son.
China should start an investigation into the Bidens, because what happened in China is just about as bad as what happened with Ukraine.
Joe Biden's campaign erupted with this statement. What Donald Trump just said on the South Lawn of the White House was this election's equivalent of his infamous Russia, if you're listening moment from 2016.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
The president's latest comment seeking foreign help also drew a stern rebuke from congressional Democrats as they move forward with their impeachment inquiry.
He feels he can do anything with impunity.
Former special envoy to Ukraine, Kurt Volker, who resigned last week and helped arrange meetings between Ukrainian officials and the president's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, testified behind closed doors Thursday.
Not one thing he has said comports with any of the Democrats' impeachment narrative. Not one thing.
The House's top Republican, Kevin McCarthy, wrote a letter to Speaker Nancy Pelosi asking her to suspend all efforts surrounding your impeachment inquiry. President Trump backed McCarthy on Twitter, writing, "The do-nothing Democrats don't stand a chance." Nicole Killian, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
President Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, has also tried to raise suspicions about Hunter Biden's business dealings in China, but there is no evidence that the former vice president benefited financially from his son's business relationships.
Senator Ron Johnson was in Middleton today visiting members of the city's Chamber of Commerce. Senator Johnson got a tour of the new co-working office space called Serendipity Labs that opened in Middleton last month. After the event, Johnson was asked his thoughts on the latest developments in the impeachment inquiry.
The House is going to do what it's going to do. From my standpoint, from what I'm seeing right there in the transcript, that's President Trump being President Trump. I certainly don't see anything impeachable about that.
Senator Johnson also reacted to comments made by U.S. Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue at the World Dairy Expo. We'll have more on that coming up tonight at 5.
But still to come tonight at 4, modern vehicles are packed with electronic safety gear like pedestrian detection.
But how effective is that safety gear? Turns out not very. That story when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Well, every 88 minutes in the United States, a pedestrian is killed in a traffic accident.
Safety advocates are excited about technology that can help prevent such a crash. However, new testing shows it could be a long road. Many new cars are equipped with sensors that can detect a pedestrian and stop automatically if the driver doesn't. But new research finds the technology is not reliable. In this scenario, a child darts out from behind two cars.
Oops.
90% of the time, the technology failed to stop the car, traveling 20 miles per hour. And every time a car turned a corner, it hit a pedestrian. When a sedan going 20 miles per hour encountered two adults, it hit them 80% of the time. The results were even worse in the dark.
The biggest thing that we uncovered is the fact that most of these systems do not work at night. And if you look at the situations where pedestrians are most vulnerable, it's at night.
Now, automakers have agreed to put the technology in almost all new cars by 2022. Experts hope it will be much better by then.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, let's hope so is right. Stocks bounced back on Wall Street today after a two-day slump. The Dow Industrials added 122 points, closing at 26,201. The Nasdaq gained 87, and the S&P 500 was up 23. The first weekend in October is almost here in the 608.
And here with a look at what's going on in the Madison area is Madison Magazine Associate Editor Joel Patton. Thanks for being with us today.
You bet.
We start off by getting in touch with nature here for the autumnal season.
Exactly. So the Aldo Leopold Nature Center has an annual event called the Pipers in the Prairie and Festival Fire. It's this Saturday evening, which will celebrate a few things. First, it's the 25th anniversary of the Aldo Leopold Nature Center and its environmental education programming. Second, the event will be an opportunity to show off the recently remodeled Discovery Wing of the building. And third, unveil the new Aldo Leopold Nature Preschool. So Saturday evening from 4:30 to 8, drinks, hors d'oeuvres, and dessert will be served. There will be live Celtic music, an Irish dance demonstration, and a huge bonfire. It should be a real celebration for the facility.
Oh, that's very nice. All right, let's get to some music now for the weekend.
Sure, there's a couple things that I've flagged for you. The first would be Kittle and Company. They're playing Friday at the Capitol Theater of the Overture Center. Jeremy Kittle has composed music for everyone from My Morning Jacket, Yo-Yo Ma, to his Grammy-winning Turtle Island Quartet. Well, he comes to town with his new traditional string ensemble, Kittle and Company. And as a bonus, Madison band The North Code, which won the opportunity to open the show by being the grand prize winner of the 2018 Overture Rising Stars competition. So that's Friday night at the Overture Center.
And another local band is performing.
Yes, on the 50th anniversary of the 11th Beatles record, Abbey Road. Get Back Wisconsin has been performing faithful live full performances of every album by the Beatles. And now, with the anniversary of Abbey Road, they are now going to perform at the Barrymore, the full album live. That, of course, means Come Together, Octopus's Garden, and Here Comes the Sun, all songs from that record. You won't want to miss hearing them among several hundred of your fellow Beatles fans.
50 years.
I know,
50 years.
I remember when it came out. Grief. All right, Joel.
I think we all do.
Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thanks, Joel.
Get this month's Madison Magazine for all the best in the Madison area.
Well, when we come back, we'll have a full look at the First Alert forecast.
And then tonight at 5, an ice cream shop staple in Madison is in jeopardy as a legal battle with a new landlord brews. We'll share that story with you coming up at 5. Take a look at this. A power line and a tree are a bad combination. People in this Washington State neighborhood looked in on and awe at this burning tree. A power pole touching the limbs created an electric arc. The water and sap inside the tree are working as a conduit, pulling the electricity back down to earth. Thankfully, there were no injuries, and remarkably, the tree is still standing.
That is remarkable. Cool.
I've seen part of a burning bush, but not that.
Well, speaking of awe-inspiring sights, there are few quite as amazing as the Northern Lights.
Especially when they're this spectacular. This is a Northern Light show that took place over the weekend in the Lapland region of Finland. The self-confessed aurora hunter who captured this video says it is the best so-called aurora storm that he has seen in years. And those aurora hunters are so cool. They travel all over the world whenever a storm's reported just to set up camera and capture this.
That's spectacular.
That's beautiful.
Look at that. And that's what the sun's what is it that causes it? Electricity? What? That's a scientific. I hate to be so scientific.
Off the atmosphere is what creates, and it has to be just at the right angle at the right time to be able to see it and see the vibrant colors.
All right, beautiful.
Yep.
And speaking of beautiful, that's
it's so
that
nice
big orange thing in the sky.
The sun, it's come back. We have no rain. It's a little cool outside, but otherwise a really, really nice evening ahead. And your Friday's not looking too bad either. We'll take a closer look, though, what's ahead for the rest of the work week and the weekend in just a few minutes. Really a nice evening for us overnight. It'll stay a little cool, but overall, again, just really pleasant and fall-like. We're at 57 right now in Madison. Dew points are in the 40s, and that breeze from the northwest, a little cool. About 12 miles per hour, so certainly enough that you will notice it. A mix of clouds and sun bright now, but we do actually have some sunshine. That's a nice change of pace, and our Doppler track is quiet. Also a nice change of pace. No showers coming through for the rest of the evening or overnight. We're actually going to make it through Friday without any rainfall. That front now well to the southeast. It's going to drive some showers and thunderstorms into the New England area. Behind it now we're getting a northwest breeze, a little cool outside, but high pressure is keeping things pretty quiet and calm throughout most of the northern plains and Midwest. Our next system is well off to the west actually right now, gaining a little bit of steam heading towards the Rockies. Once it rolls on over that, it'll get a little more moisture along with it and start to get closer to us late Friday and into Saturday. So we get to hold off a little bit before those shower chances come back in. And we aren't expecting the heavy rainfall to come through with that rain chance for the first half of the weekend. Temperature-wise, it'll be a little cool tonight, falling through the 40s for overnight lows. Parts of central and northern Wisconsin will drop close to freezing into the lower 30s overnight. Tomorrow, partly sunny, a really pleasant fall day. Temperatures again in the 50s for those afternoon highs with a breeze switching so it becomes a little more of a northeast flow. The next system starts to approach late Friday night into Saturday. We may have a few showers developing mainly after midnight Friday night, but most of the rain comes through on Saturday with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms certainly possible for most of the day. That cold front passes on through. You can see the wind line there. By Sunday, we get a clearing sky. It'll be a little cool again to start off the next week, but we get to enjoy some dry weather for the start of the following work week. Rainfall totals seem to be a little higher along the western edge of the state right now, but we're really looking at everyone getting anywhere from a half of an inch to an inch of accumulation. So not a lot of rain coming in, but we will pick up a little more than at this point that we need for Saturday. Overnight temperatures again falling through the 50s into the 40s for overnight lows by early Friday morning. For Friday afternoon, plan on a partly sunny sky, no more showers coming in, and temperature-wise very similar to today in the mid to upper 50s for afternoon highs. Clouds develop overnight Friday into Saturday. Early Saturday morning shower chances in the western edge of the state first and then passing on over. We could have some heavier rain and isolated thunderstorms mixed in there. The showers gradually come to an end Saturday evening, and by Sunday we have a drying sky. Overnight low of about 41, so it will be a little cooler early tomorrow morning. Otherwise, just partly cloudy and quiet outside overnight. That breeze from the northwest, anywhere from 6 to 12 miles per hour, so a cool breeze coming through. Tomorrow afternoon, our high temperatures will be in the mid to upper 50s. Again, very similar to today in that it will be partly sunny, maybe even just a little more sunshine, but still a cool day outside. We'll stay in the upper 50s for Friday and Saturday. Saturday, though, will include those shower chances coming on in. We have scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms expected all day on Saturday, and then we will clear up overnight heading into Sunday. Those Sunday highs will be in the low 60s with a partly sunny sky, a very seasonal day, and then heading into the start of next week, temps will stay close to 60 in the upper 50s for much of the area with mostly sunny skies for Monday and Tuesday. Overnight temperatures in the 40s, so it will be cool overnight. Our next chance for showers doesn't really creep back into the forecast until the end of the work week for Thursday. And then by the following weekend, we should have some more sunshine staying with us. So a very fall-like pattern with our temperatures, and thankfully not as much rain included in this 10-day forecast. Now, quick look at your weather.
Looks like the heat may be going on sometime soon here.
Yes.
All right, Dana, thank you. Ed Garvey was one of the most influential progressive politicians in Wisconsin's history.
He was the first executive director of the National Football League Players Union. He ran for U.S. Senate and for governor, and he eventually co-founded Fighting Bob Fest. Rob Zaleski is a writer and former journalist who spent 26 years at the Capital Times and recently wrote this new book. It's titled Ed Garvey Unvarnished: Lessons from a Visionary Progressive. Rob, great to see you.
Great to see you.
Congratulations on the book.
Oh, thank you so much.
You know, we were just talking, Mark and I met Ed, but I didn't know him personally, although I remember him vividly. And he strikes me as that kind of a guy, somebody who makes a big impression. But what was he like, and why is it important that we know about him?
Well, we met in 2011. Ed had already been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. My relationship with Ed went back to the early 1970s when I was sports editor of a now defunct daily in Green Bay called the Green Bay Daily News. Ed had just joined the NFL Players Union. Unbeknownst to even my fellow colleagues at the time, we were a small newspaper started by striking printers at the Press-Gazette, and we broke a number of major stories on the NFL players going on strike. Nobody realized that Bill Dwyer was sports editor of the Milwaukee Journal at the time, and he called me and said, "Where are you guys getting these scoops?" Well, Ed Garvey was calling us from the D.C. office and giving us these scoops, and it put us on the map. So that's how my relationship with Ed started.
Unvarnished, why that?
Unvarnished because Ed Garvey was bigger than life, larger than life, a colorful character, and he did not pull punches. And in these interviews, we had 17 one-on-one interviews in his home in Shorewood Hills. And I came up with a question and answer format, and I made it clear from the beginning that I was going to hold his feet to the fire. And Ed mostly was unvarnished. He never lied. He was genuine. He was not phony at all. He did not check what the polls were saying before he took an opinion on something. He did something because he thought it was the right thing to do. And that's why I had this great admiration for this man.
At what stage of his life were you doing these interviews?
So it was after Scott Walker was elected in 2010, and Feingold had been defeated in the Senate race by Ron Johnson. I, quite frankly, was demoralized and trying to make sense of it all when I heard Ed being interviewed on public radio. And this was actually in November 2010. And you know, it's interesting. I was a moderate for much of my life. I became more and more liberal in the last years when I was writing a column, writing about the underdogs. And Ed Garvey, that was his constituency, the underdogs. He fought for the underdogs.
What do you think he'd make of today's political climate?
Oh, I think he would be just depressed. Well, not depressed. Ed always took an optimistic side to things. But he saw it coming. As I mentioned in the book, he thought that the Democratic Party had lost its soul going back to the 1980s and were tapping into big money, much like the Republicans, and he was appalled by that. I will tell you that I do think if Ed Garvey was alive today, he would be leading the fight against those who are skeptics of climate change. He was an environmentalist. Gaylord Nelson was his hero. I think Ed would be leading rallies in D.C., I really do. He was appalled that the debate on global warming was being dictated by wealthy old men. He couldn't believe that.
Yeah, we miss him. We need him now.
Oh, we do.
Yeah. Rob, thanks for being with us today. And if you'd like to hear more from the book, Rob has a book reading coming up Thursday, October 15th at 6:15 p.m. at Cargo Coffee on East Washington Avenue. The book is available in stores and online, and it is selling very well.
It is doing very well.
Congratulations,
Rob.
Thank you very
Rob.
much.
Great to see you.
Oh, great to see you. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. There's more at 4. An American astronaut returns from the International Space Station.
When we come back, it's a mission that almost didn't happen. We'll find out why not when Live at 4 continues.
Here's a live look from Atlanta.
Oh, we're spinning the satellite around this afternoon.
Let's see where it lands. Looks like a nice day. I didn't know there's a big river in Atlanta.
Oh, it's a great shot.
Apparently there is. Well, American astronaut Nick Hague has returned to Earth this morning after 6 months aboard the International Space Station.
Last year, Hague's orbital adventure nearly ended before it began. However, when his crew's first launch was aborted after takeoff due to a rocket malfunction.
As he prepared to depart the ISS, Hague discussed his second shot at space with CBS's Mark Strassman.
Nick Hague now outside the International Space Station.
This is Nick Hague, walking about 250 miles above the rest of us. His Earth view and his life view both changed.
To be able to look down and see the Earth for what it is and realize that we're on this very special place, this precious island in this abyss of darkness, the change in perspective up here is profound, and you can definitely feel it.
For 6 months, Hague's home has been the International Space Station. But his emotional space ride began before he got here.
Lift off.
Last October, his ride to space, a Russian Soyuz rocket, had to abort mid-flight. A booster malfunctioned, disintegrating beneath him. The Soyuz abort system flung the capsule carrying Hague and a Russian cosmonaut to safety. Back on the ground, this hug from his wife Katie was longer than usual.
You realize in that moment, hey, this could have been really bad.
When we talked to the couple last December, NASA was giving Hague what he wanted. Another shot at space with another Soyuz launch.
You're not nervous?
I'm nervous. Oh, yes. It's scary to be the spouse and to watch it from the outside is very scary.
But this Soyuz flight reached the space station without a hitch.
Contact is confirmed.
Nick Hague of NASA, the next one through the hatch.
It's a mix of emotions, the relief of finally accomplishing it, the knowing the sacrifice that had been put in up to that point, not just by me, but by my family.
Since 1961, only 358 Americans have ever been in space. They all defied long odds to get there, but none quite like Nick Hague.
What does your space experience say about the power of second chances?
Life is full of adversity, and what defines you is how you encounter that adversity and whether you bounce back from it or not. And so I think second chances are really moments in life where you can reflect on what's important and why you're committed to what you're committed to.
Hague also can't wait to see his family again. 6 months is a long time apart. I emailed his wife, Katie, to ask whether there was a big Hague family homecoming in the works. She said their big plans are to eat pizza and drink wine. Mark Strassman, CBS News, New York.
Sounds like a plan.
We showed you that satellite picture a little while ago, and we said it, and you're very observant. We said it was Atlanta, and we should have known. Well, there couldn't be a cruise ship in Atlanta.
A big. We'll find out where it was.
I think it's New. I think you're right. I think it's New Orleans.
I think so too.
Okay.
It wasn't Atlanta.
Yeah.
Don't call, but do call now
Yes.
because it's time to get your pet questions ready. Dr. Carrie Donahue from the Full Circle Holistic Vet Care is here.
The number to call 270-9933. Carrie will join us and take your calls when Live at 4 continues.
No accidents to report right now, though the Beltline, of course, going just a little slower than what we would like to see, but around this time of day, it's usually what it looks like down near Janesville. No hiccups or delays downtown. 39 and 90 looks okay. Again, on the Beltline, the eastbound side, those speeds reduced from 151, stretching all the way through John Nolan. On the westbound side, we're also seeing a little bit of a slowdown from John Nolan, getting closer to Seminole Highway, but then things pick back up again just fine. No major delays along the Isthmus and around Prairie du Sac and Sauk City. Of course, heading into Sauk City, we do have some delays on 12 as it's reduced down to just one lane, but then once you get through Sauk City, speeds pick right back on up again. From Janesville to the Beltline, it's still at 28 minutes. Sauk City to Middleton, 17, and 18 minutes from Sun Prairie to downtown. That's a quick look at traffic.
Thank you, Dana. Check out this amazing video from Hasty, Colorado. Thousands and thousands of monarch butterflies were seen swarming in a state park. This is part of the monarch butterflies migration through the eastern plains. The butterflies travel nearly 3,000 miles to Mexico, where they'll spend the winter.
It's one of the most remarkable things in nature.
Yes, it absolutely is. Well, we're taking your pet questions today for Dr. Carrie Donahue from the Full Circle Holistic Veterinary Care.
The number to call is 270-9933 if you have a question for Dr. Carrie. And while we wait for your calls to clear, welcome. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
You've brought several varieties of CBD-related products for pets.
I did, yes.
Now, tell us about how that works with pets and how you feel about that.
You know, I've really, over the last couple of years, have started to use CBD oil more and more frequently, or at least recommending it for pets for quite a variety of different conditions. Anxiety works really well for arthritis, any pain, inflammation, allergies. It helps support the immune system. It has anti-cancer benefits. You know, so it's just kind of like one of those all-around things that can benefit a variety of different systems in animals that, you know, might need a little bit of help. And it's nice too because it can help kind of prevent animals from having to go on medications, or can decrease the amount of medications that they might have to take for different issues.
It sounds almost too good to be true.
It does, yes it does. And you know, that's one of those things, it's not a miracle, but you might see a positive effect. And in my opinion, if you can find a natural product that has a positive effect and no negative side effects, then it might be worth checking out. So yeah, it doesn't work for every animal, but it certainly does for
It comes in treats and liquid and in cream as well, and it's for all animals, dogs and cats?
Dogs and cats, I use it quite a bit. Yep, and the transdermal cream, this one is nice because if your pet might not be willing to take it orally, you can put it on the inside of the ear flaps where there isn't any fur, and then it gets absorbed into the system that way.
So that would work well for cats.
Exactly, yes.
Cats aren't very good with eyedroppers.
I know.
All right, let's go to the phones. We'll start with Karen in Roscoe, Illinois. Hi, Karen.
Yes, hi. I have a question. Our cat is so scared during thunderstorms. Is there something other than what we bought that you can plug in the walls that we can put on a blanket for her?
Oh, my cat gets scared during storms too.
Oh my gosh, so many animals do. I know, exactly. This is the perfect example of a time when you might think about doing CBD oil for your cat. And it's nice because CBD oil can be given consistently twice a day, but it can also be used for situations. So if you know that a thunderstorm is coming, maybe trying to get some of the CBD oil in about an hour or two before if you can. Another thing that I would say that works really well for cats is lavender essential oil in a diffuser. And you use that, you kind of have it going in the room or, you know, in a couple of different rooms in the house, but that can really help to calm animals down also.
Oh, interesting.
You should try that.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I will try that. All right, let's go to Helen in Fitchburg. Hi, Helen, what's your question?
My Siamese cat is losing his fur, and it is a nonstop thing. I have to brush him every day, and it'll be winter soon. I'm afraid he's going to catch pneumonia.
Oh, yeah,
that much?
I know. Yeah, that's a lot coming out. You know, and one of those things I might say, taking your cat into the veterinarian just to have kind of a workup done.
I did.
You did do that, and you didn't see that anything...
She prescribed some antihistamine or something. It didn't work.
And that didn't make a difference?
No.
Does it seem like your cat is pulling the fur out?
No.
Okay,
He's just itching.
It's just itching. Okay. So, you might be faced with doing even more diagnostics, but I would definitely say, whatever you can do to keep him warm in the winter would be a good idea.
All right, let's go to Pat in Edgerton. Hi, Pat. What's your question?
Yes, my dog or cat is around 10, and he has some really stinky poops. I mean, he runs from them. They're so bad.
The cat's annoyed by it.
Yeah, and also he prefers to lay on paper bags, like from the stores, and in boxes, or in odd places. And I'm wondering, with the winter coming up, if I shouldn't get him a regular pet bag box.
A bed.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
So stinky poop.
Yeah, this can sometimes happen if there is even a bacterial imbalance in the GI tract. You can get very foul smelling. So I would say, if you're not doing probiotics already, that might be a good, easy thing to add in just to help kind of balance out the good and the not so good bacteria.
Okay. All right, let's go to Renee in Madison. Hi, Renee, what's your question?
Hi, yes, my question is that my dog Gisma, she likes boiled chicken, so I shred it up and I put cheese in it. I was wondering if that's okay to keep putting cheese inside her chicken, or otherwise if I don't, she won't eat it.
Can dogs eat cheese?
Dogs can eat cheese. It's completely fine, although I will say some dogs don't do well with dairy in general or cheese. Usually they do better with even kind of going to one of the alternative cheeses like goat's milk cheese, or something like that if cow's milk does not agree with them. But yeah, it's fine.
Is there a calorie issue?
Usually not. If you're doing kind of like small amounts in general, it's okay. Yeah,
you slip the news hounds a little cheese.
They get cheese every day. All right, we're out of time. Carrie, thank you for coming in today. We'll see you next time. Thank you all for calling in. We'll get to you next time around, and we'll be right back with the final check of your forecast. Very fall like today.
Very fall. It's
About time.
cool. Finally, and we're going to keep it this time. It seems like we don't have any big jumps in our temperatures coming back on through. Right now we have a few more clouds and sun outside, but overall a really pleasant evening. Again, it's a little cool. If you're stepping out this evening, you might need a windbreaker just because there is a bit of a breeze from the northwest, about 12 miles per hour. In Madison right now, we're at 57. It's a little below average, but still very, very nice outside. Those dew points are the 40s, so no mugginess to factor in. Our Doppler track is going to stay nice and quiet overnight. Heading into tomorrow, don't plan on any rain for your Friday. And again, temperature-wise, compared to this time yesterday, in a really good spot for this evening. Friday overall pretty similar to today. We don't have to worry about rain chances creeping in until late Friday and for Saturday, so that gives us a nice little dry spot right now. A lot of folks need to dry on up, so that's some good news for us.
Maybe some rain for the Badger game.
Maybe some rain on Saturday. Yes, for Saturday we're looking at some scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms possible, so we'll be ironing out that time a little more heading towards the game for Saturday.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good.
All right, tomorrow here on Live Before, Michael Bruno goes backstage at Madison Theater Guild's production of Seminar.
And we'll go behind the wheel with Harvey Briggs in the 2020 Toyota Supra. It's back after 21 years. That's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4. In our final touch